on the News Channel 5 network. This is Morning Line with Nick Beres.
Good morning, everyone. Nick Beres here. Thanks for joining us on Morning Line. We're coming to you on this Tuesday with a good show on tap, one where I know many of you may like to join in the conversation, call in, ask questions, as well as maybe passing this on to some friends who may be dealing with the issue of Social Security. Yes, it is our monthly Social Security visit from our good friend with the administration, Josh Horn. Good morning to you, my friend.
Good morning, everyone.
It's nice to have you on. He comes on once a month, you know this, and we always get phone calls. They heat up later in the show, but as always, you know, I've been doing this so long with Social Security, and it's the same type of calls, but everyone has their own individual questions and issues. SSI, disability, the application process, do you need a lawyer? And if you're getting near retirement age, you know, hey, is it a good idea to take early retirement? Do you want to hold off? How much more do you get if you go to full retirement? And when is that, depending on how old you are? All that stuff, right?
Right.
Holy cow. Well, the lines are up, and so you can call in. But before we get to all that, just, you know, as always, when we started off, just anything you want to throw out there. Reminders for folks, changes, what's on the hopper?
Absolutely. I know sometimes I feel like a broken record, but I always like to talk about our internet services because more and more folks would prefer to do internet services rather than have to wait on the phone or wait in line at the office. And so the agency is continuing to add more and more services to the online services that we offer. And so if you haven't already, go and register on socialsecurity.gov, and you can, up in the corner, it says you can create an account, and so you can create like an online banking account, except it's with Social Security. You can look at your wages and everything. But the new service that's been added is for the annual payee accounting. So for those of you who may be a representative pay, you're over somebody's check, and if you've been over there for more than a year, you know that every year you get an accounting form that says, hey, how did you spend this person's money?
What does this mean? Wait a second, just so I'm clear. This is like a conservator who's handling the money for an individual?
Right, yeah. If, you know, we've got some folks who are drawing disability that can't, for whatever reason, manage their own funds. And so we at the Social Security office will help them appoint a representative payee, or conservator is another term for it. And those payees every year have to account for how they spent that money, because obviously they are required to spend the money on the person that's due the money. And usually it's pretty simple. It's you've paid for their food or their shelter or their clothing and things like that. But we do have to have that form every year, and now you can actually complete that online. And so that's just another option rather than having to mess with filling it out and send it in, or if you lose it or whatever else, you can go online and take care of that.
Is this time of year specific to any type of concerns or type of phone calls you guys get? I don't know. You know, sometimes you tell me it's busier time of year with people, you know, requesting information, all this. Anything special with things coming late in maybe the summer, especially? I don't know if the fact that kids and school is starting up again has any bearing in any way on families, one way or the other. Anything that comes around this time?
You know, actually, this is a good time to come in. We've got a lot of folks who come in during the summer for retirement, especially June, to file for retirement. And then, of course, we've got a lot of folks that are out, so they go ahead and try to take care of their Social Security business if they're out of school or off of work or whatever else. But then, starting when the school starts back up and folks are going back to work and vacations are over and things like that, there's actually a little bit of a lull at Social Security right before the October rush. October is probably our next busy time.
And that's because?
It's a couple of reasons. One is folks are preparing to for the end of the year, because a lot of folks retire at the end of December or beginning of January, and so October is the earliest that you can actually come in, because we can take retirement applications about 3 months in advance. Excuse me. And then also it's the end of the federal fiscal year, and so sometimes that plays into it a little bit. And then you know, I don't know, maybe just fall fever. People are ready to go or need to file.
Well, maybe they're not outside as much anymore. If it starts getting cold, and finally they can focus on that. Now, you guys came off your hiring freeze, right? And then, by the way, was that hiring freeze just for the local Middle Tennessee offices, or was the entire administration on a hiring freeze for a period of time there to save money?
Yeah, and hiring freeze can be kind of a tricky term, because there have been in the past where there is an entire federal government-wide hiring freeze, and then sometimes it can be just agency-wide, and sometimes it's something that the commissioner actually imposes for Social Security, just because while we're trying to balance our budget and try to figure out where the money is at. And so generally we don't have regional hiring freezes, but we did get to I got to hire one in Nashville and one in Murfreesboro this year, so we did get a little bit of hiring this year. So.
Well, I only bring that up because that oftentimes the folks you hire are the ones that are taking the phone calls and processing information. And I don't know, everyone has this image of the long process applying for anything with Social Security. If you show up at the office, I don't know, I haven't been over there in a long time in terms of how long a wait of a line there is. Or if you're calling, are you on hold? And you do. If you call in, you will get a person fairly quickly, Whether or not they can help you or not immediately at that moment, I don't know. It depends on what your situation is, right?
Right. And see, a lot of the times we go through periods where, a lot of folks retire, because just like at Social Security, at the end of the year, we got a lot of, at the end of the calendar year, a lot of times you have a lot of folks retire, but we don't necessarily have the funding to replace them yet. So sometimes there can be a lag there. And then, of course, we've got folks the new folks will have to go to training, and when they, we pull them completely off the floor to make sure that they are fully trained to serve. So.
Money's what it all comes down to on everything. Helping people with the money, paying the folks at the administration. So will Social Security go bankrupt in 10 years?
Yeah, so that answer is no.
Oh, good. I hope you were going to say, oh, I can't answer that, Nick. But no, it's not going to go bankrupt. But there may be some changes. They're either going to have to find ways to put more money in there, or maybe change who collects how much money they get, right?
Right. See, years and years ago, you had, for every one person that's drawing benefits, whether it's retired or disability, you had 5 people working and paying in taxes to support that one person.
Think about that. Wow. Yeah.
We're down to 3 to 1 now. For every one person that's drawing, you only got about 3 people working, and pretty soon it's going to be 2 to 1. And so when that ratio goes down, there's just not as much money flowing into the system. And back when it was 5 to 1, you had 5 workers. That's when the trust funds that you hear about really got built up, because you had more money coming in than going out. And then obviously here over the last several years, you've had more money going out and depleting that trust fund. And so soon, basically, there's just not going to be enough folks working and paying into the system to support those that are drawing to draw their full amount. And so if nothing happens right now, they say between about 77%, 79% of benefits will be payable. So if you're drawing $1,000 per month, then it'd be only about $790 per month. So it's not going to be 0, but it's going to be significantly reduced if they do not, if nothing happens, and it just automatically defaults. And they're still working on that. Hoping
our lawmakers get on it, and if the constituents want it, then hopefully they will. So hey, let's take a break. When we come back, we've got some calls coming in. A lot of you on hold already. We're going to get all your names. We'll start ripping through, and we've got lines open. We go until 9 o'clock with Josh Horn from Social Security. You see the number there on the screen. So give us a call if you have questions or comments. We'll get to as many of you as we can, try to help you with whatever issue. This is the guy who can do it. We'll be back with you right after this.